Here's a simple biblical way to grow your business online without burnout. Many entrepreneurs are overcomplicating their business, and we want to look at how to fix that, how to grow in that, because at the end of the day, your business doesn't need 50 complicated things. It just needs one in order to grow. Now, my name is Kirsten Larson. I'm a wholeness transformation coach coming in this season to really talk about how to grow your business online so that we can see more Christians walking in the freedom, the perspective of wholeness that God has for you, so that you're no longer waiting for something to happen, but you can step into all that He has called you to and be a powerful influence on this earth for the good of all that God has put in your heart. Okay, I know that He's put dreams in your heart. I know that He's put dreams in mine. I know that there are things in you that you want to see happen, but it takes resources to do that. And let's face it, when we set out to do business, we go, there is so much overwhelm. And I'm going to be uncomplicating that set of overwhelm because really what I used to do, I am a little bit more of a visionary person. I like to have ideas and thoughts brewing on a regular basis. And what happened for me was I went into online business and did just too many things. I burnt out over and over again. And I think that was a little bit of my personality, but I think it was also that kind of hustle culture that we have. Sometimes that's business culture and sometimes that's religious culture. I don't know, sometimes a lot of times in church, we're doing all these things and we forget the promise that God has given us to operate from rest. And I've been in business for over 20 years and I have seen a lot of powerful things and I've also burnt myself out. And so I know the beauty of finding that nervous system place, finding that rhythm of rest, finding that space where you're operating with God, co-creating with Him and doing it from a space of grace. Okay. So we have this problem. Our culture is a lot of hustle and overwhelm. And a lot of times that actually stops us because number one, if we're too complicated, we cannot scale, we can't grow. But number two, if it's too complicated or there's too many parts and pieces, we end up in overwhelm and we either burn out or we just don't get things done. I don't know if you've ever been there before where you're looking at all the things or even not looking at them and just not doing anything. Now that's a problem because if you're not doing the things that you need to do, then you end up feeling, I don't know about you, but I talk to a lot of people and there ends up feeling like there's shame around not doing it, or I'm just a procrastinator, or taking on these identities that really don't belong to you. And they're actually not true. They're a root cause of having too many things to focus on and not streamlining into what are you meant to focus on in this season. Now, we also hear in Ecclesiastes and in other areas of business and entrepreneurship that we should have multiple streams of income. Ecclesiastes talks about 7 or 8 streams of income, right? And here's the thing, that is all well and good. Once you have one that is up and running, you set up another one. Now, I had a business coach that said you should have one business stream that makes you $1 million per year, and then you can add another one. Now that's a big deal, right? How focused can you get if you focus on one thing and you do it really well and you get really good at it and then you add another? And I found out that to be true. When we start doing that, we streamline quite a bit. Now you might be thinking, well, I have 2 businesses. I also have a ministry I'm a part of, but I don't do them separately. I integrate them and I also do one at a time. And I built one for many years, and then I built another, and then this one. And so we're not doing it. We do want those multiple streams. We're not sitting there going, I'm going to do them all at the same time. And that's a lot of times where we see these, maybe you've heard these high level entrepreneurs out there saying you need 7 streams of income, and these are all my streams of income, and these are all the things that I do. And then you just get overwhelmed and shut down and don't do any of them. So I want to share this. But before I do, I want to just enter in from Hebrews 4. One of my favorite passages to align us in this place is it says, "Now the promise of entering into God's rest is still for us today. So we must be extremely careful to ensure that we all embrace the fullness of that promise and not fail to experience it. For those of us who believe, our faith activates the promise and we experience the realm of confident rest." That's Hebrews 4:3. Whether you believe in God or not, that just sounds like, yes, I want to step into that. The promise is freedom, is wholeness, is everything that Jesus purchased on the cross for us is available to us now. Ephesians 1:3. It had multiple places in the passages that it is available for us now. But sometimes we're striving for it. We're trying to strive for something that Jesus already purchased. Okay, so for those of us who believe, our faith, and remember, faith requires movement, requires an activation, requires saying, okay, I'm going to move forward in this, but it activates the promises of God in our life. And in that, we experience this realm of confident rest. Verse 6-7, I love this. The fact remains is that we still have an opportunity to enter into the faith rest life and experience the fulfillment of the promise. Verse 7 says that God has ordained a day for us to enter into, and that is called today. So even today, wherever you are, there is a promise that God has over your life, and it is meant to be entered into from a place of rest. From that place of rest, that's what we're talking about, is moving into that promise from rest. And so this simple model that I'm talking about, this one simple model of having a flow in your business that walks you through gentle rest and a rhythm that is aligned with God, who is aligned with you, is having one offer, one funnel. And those are the same thing. So you might say that's two things, but when you have one offer that is a funnel, and what does a funnel mean? Well, a funnel is like a series of steps. Maybe they add their email list for something free. Maybe they buy something really small, and it takes them on a journey. Ideally, an automated journey of automated emails, or maybe there's automated pages that helps them progress through your message, your journey, and helps them into higher levels of the journey. And the only thing that you have to focus on is bringing traffic, or bringing people, inviting people into that journey, into that conversation, into that offer. And that's the exciting thing. Once you have one offer, you no longer have to create anything. All you have to do is talk about it. Now, I think of this as Jesus walking the earth. He had one offer, and that was the kingdom of God is at hand. He talked about it nonstop, consistently. Look through Matthew 13. He just talked about it in different ways. As he journeyed through his life on the earth, he had one message, and people flocked to hear it. He didn't have to change it. He didn't have to recreate it. He didn't have to change his offer. He had healing and wholeness available for everyone. And that was his offer. But here's the thing. When we, in a couple of episodes ago, when I talked about this, we talked about this element of sowing and reaping, sowing in what you have, what your gifts are, stewarding your gifts, and then multiplying it. And I loved this book by Dr. Benjamin Hardy called The Simplicity of Scaling. I think that's the name. Probably have that off a little bit, but he really just spoke to this concept and this heart of, if you are trying to scale, if you're trying to build anything, if you have too much happening, you have to kind of strip it back to be able to multiply it, to be able to scale it. And the Bible talks a lot about multiplication. Even our very first commandment is be faithful with what you have, steward the land, and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. That's one of God's very first kind of commandments or releasing to humanity was be faithful and fruitful with what you have and multiply it. Okay. And so when you have one offer and you're bringing people to it, that gives you the capacity within a funnel to steward that and multiply it. Okay. Isn't that powerful? So when you have one thing, one offer, all you have to do is talk about it, invite people into it, and allow that journey of the funnel to help you multiply. Okay. And what's really amazing these days is that when you have something simple, let's say you have a simple lead magnet. That's a thing that's something free. You have something free to give away. Now, there's different takes on that. Do you give it away for free, or do you have a very small offer that's $5 to $27 that people can buy so that you're inviting people who want to actually buy something from you? And you know what? I give that to the discernment of the Holy Spirit. Maybe you know your audience. Maybe you know what you would like to do. Maybe you have something a little bit of both. I have both. I have something free that you can step into. I have something that's a low offer that's $27 that you could jump into as well. And there's a little bit more depth to that process. And then you go on a journey. And when you have that, you can simply invite people into one of those pieces. And again, allow your funnel to do the work. So filled with rest. And the good news is this day and age, when you show up on certain places, you talk to people, it begins the multiplication process because that simple piece is sowing in and you begin to reap that harvest over time. And sometimes it can feel at the beginning like you're not seeing a harvest. So if you're just starting out or you're thinking about starting out, just know that, anytime a farmer plants seeds, there's a reason why the Bible uses sowing and reaping is anytime a farmer plants seeds. If you've ever done any gardening, I love gardening. I love fruits and vegetables coming fresh from the garden. And when you do that, we were just talking with a friend recently. It's fall time as I'm recording this. And what you need to do is in the fall, you need to plant the seeds that you expect to reap in the springtime. And that's similar to our kind of talking about our offers is we plant in the season and we water them. And then over time, we begin to reap and experience and see that harvest. And even springtime grows, and then you still have to harvest that fruit that comes off. So there's a whole journey and process that we walk through. But as we align with God's rest in that journey, when we align with that and we know the process, and we say, I'm going to start with one offer, one funnel, and I'm going to plant seeds and begin that journey, you're going to see it multiply. That's the way I have seen it work over and over again in many businesses. And this is why one of the offers that I have is a very simple, done for you business, a community that comes alongside you, people that are cheering you on. It's already built funnel that all you have to do is learn to talk about it and invite people into. It's an incredible space. And if you don't want to build your own offer, that's an amazing place to start. Okay. So if that's something that you're interested in, I want you to just comment below, or you can click the links below and you'll get started on that. Just say, I'm ready. I'm ready for rest. Just comment that below and we'll get that over to you. But listen, remember, your business does not need 50 things. Your life doesn't need 50 things. You just need one thing aligned with God's rest, and you can step into that. As you have passive income, remember that begins to fund your life. You get to pay off your debts. You get to pay off things in your life, and it begins to fund ministry endeavors, things that are bubbling up in your heart, dreams in your life. It helps pay off the debts of others, and it helps to allow that flow to come through you into the world around you. Remember, God doesn't want you striving in what you're doing, but He blesses that faith rest life. And I want to see you stepping into that space of faith and rest. And remember, when you have a funnel that is operating for you, it becomes you're essentially like an employee that's working for you 24/7 behind the scenes. Okay. So I want to see you step into that. Again, join me below, comment below on how this ministered to you, struck you. What are you going to step into? What's your one thing that you're going to focus on in this season? And if you want that freedom blueprint, just comment rest below and we'll get you started. All right, my friends, God bless you.